This episode of Delta Deep Dive is based entirely on publicly available documents, official filings, and published reporting. All statements reflect opinion and analysis drawn from those sources. Nothing you're about to hear should be taken as legal accusations or a finding of guilt. Now, let's dive a little deeper. Menominee, Michigan, a quiet city on the bay where nothing's supposed to happen in the dark. But inside a locked office at City Hall, something did. A stack of emails, more than 1,000 pages, sat buried in a government inbox. Not rumors, not accusations, documents, receipts. The kind of paper trail that doesn't whisper, it screams. One line from a state engineer. The city is using MDOT as their teeth. Another, Dave just keeps trying to push it because he hates dispensaries. And then the one that changed everything. I don't want to end up in court over something I never agreed with. These weren't activists, they weren't politicians, they were MDOT officials, engineers, planners, and permit specialists, documenting a pattern they didn't want to be a part of. A pattern that pointed back to one place, Menominee City Hall. And while most of the city council stayed silent, one person didn't. A first-term mayor with a law degree and a $70 a month salary. A mayor who read the emails, connected the dots, and said the quiet part out loud. Something was wrong. He posted the documents, he called for resignations, he demanded an investigation, and he warned the council, in writing, that the city was walking straight into a multi-million-dollar disaster. The response? They censored him. Tonight, we're not dealing in speculation, we're not dealing in politics, we're dealing in documents. The complaint, the FOIA emails, the internal contradictions, and the reporting that revealed the city manager was working with a competing dispensary's attorney while blocking Puff from opening. This is the story Menominee tried to bury. December 2024. Puff Cannabis submits its application to the city of Menominee. 2 weeks later, city manager Brett Bopwile sends an email. Everything appears to be in order. At this time, Puff would be approved for a license and can proceed. That email is Exhibit A in the lawsuit. It's the city's own written approval. Puff moves forward. Site plans approved. Building permit issued. Construction begins. By July 2025, nearly $2 million invested. Final plumbing and electrical inspections passed. Security installed. Signage going up. On July 28th, Puff receives a temporary certificate of occupancy. But with one caveat. No sales can be done until the parking lot issues are settled. The parking lot issues. The phrase that would become the city's shield, referred to curb cuts on 10th Street. Curb cuts that had existed for decades. Curb cuts the city had already approved in the site plan. Curb cuts Puff had not altered. And curb cuts that, according to the lawsuit, were suddenly being treated as a crisis. August 2025. Puff passes its state inspections, both CRA and BFS. The only thing left is the city's final certificate of occupancy and the attestation 2C form the city must sign. Without those two documents, Puff cannot open. On August 12th, the CRA emails Puff. Your license cannot be approved due to a response from the municipality. Puff asks the city what's going on. Bopwile replies, the MDOT city ingress-egress curb cuts have not been addressed, and the court order does not afford us the ability to make any decisions at this time. But there's a problem. There's no court order preventing the city from issuing a 9th license. There's no ordinance capping the number of dispensaries. There's no moratorium. There's no law. And Puff had already closed both curb cuts. Voluntarily. Exceeding what MDOT asked for. So why was the city still refusing to act? January 2026. Puff's attorney obtained more than 1,000 pages of MDOT emails through FOIA. And the story changes. In one email, an MDOT engineer writes, the whole situation makes me very uncomfortable. I'm not aware of anything in our permitting process that says we can make someone working outside of our RWO make changes to existing driveway approaches. Another, I very much regret picking up the slack because I saw emails to Jeff go unanswered for weeks. Another, I haven't agreed with this whole situation of trying to force the driveway changes when nothing was planned in our RWO. And then the line that would ignite Menominee. Dave just keeps trying to push it because he hates dispensaries. But the most damning line is this. The city is using MDOT as their teeth. according to MDOT, the city wasn't following state requirements. The city was trying to create requirements and using MDOT to enforce them. In another email, MDOT confirms, "We are good with write-in only. Only they can fix the driveway at their convenience." Meaning, Puff could open. The driveway work could be done later. It was not a condition of opening. This directly contradicts what the city told the CRA, what the city told Puff, and what the city told the court. January 25th, 2026. Mayor Casey Hoffman posts the emails publicly. He calls for the immediate resignations of City Manager Brett Bottbeil and City Attorney Michael Sololo. He writes, "My sole intent is bringing transparency and good governance back to the City Council." He says the emails prove the city misled the council. He says the city misled the court. He says the city's legal strategy must change. He says this is a business that followed all the rules, and behind the scenes, more and more evidence is mounting that the city of Menominee colluded and engaged in questionable behavior to ensure that Puff would not open. Council members push back. Some say the emails are nothing. Some say that emails are taken out of context. Some say they're loyal to a friend. Hoffman responds, "This council is composed of individuals who are very devoted, loyal, and obedient to Brett Bottbeil. He stands alone on the lawsuit prevention amendment, the only vote in favor. He warns the council that inaction will lead to a multi-million-dollar liability. He is ignored." As the FOIA emails circulated and the lawsuits mounted, another detail emerged, one that raised the stakes even higher. According to reporting from the Eagle Herald, City Manager Brett Bottbeil was not acting alone. The newspaper reported that Bottbeil had been working with Loom cannabis attorney Kevin Blair, a lawyer representing one of Puff's competitors, during the period when Puff's opening was being delayed. Mayor Hoffman referenced this reporting directly in a public letter. An investigative story showed how City Manager Brett Bottbeil worked with Loom Cannabis attorney Kevin Blair to delay Puff Cannabis from opening. If true, this would mean the city manager, the person responsible for neutral, administrative decision-making, was communicating with an attorney representing a competing dispensary while simultaneously blocking Puff's ability to open. The city did not publicly refute the reporting. Bottbeil did not respond to the Eagle Herald's request for comment, and the council did not investigate. Instead, they censured the mayor for talking about it. This detail, the involvement of a competitor's attorney, reframes the entire timeline. It suggests the delays were not just bureaucratic, not just political, but potentially influenced by outside interests. And it raises the question, who is the city manager really listening to? The council? The public? Or a competing dispensary's lawyer? Puff sues for $100 million. URB sues for $35 million. Highwire sues for $50 million. Total exposure, $185 million. For a city with an annual budget of roughly $10 to $12 million. The mayor warns, this will force taxpayers to pay legal bills for multi-millions of dollars. He compares it to Peninsula Township, where wineries won a $50 million judgment, forcing the township to consider selling its lighthouse. He says Menominee is on the same path, and he says corruption in a small town in the Upper Peninsula is still corruption. The city's legal team is replaced, the Michigan Municipal League steps in, a new attorney takes over. But the documents remain, the emails remain, the lawsuit remains, and the political fracture remains. A city manager accused of obstruction, a council accused of ignoring the evidence, a mayor standing alone, and a business that followed every rule, still waiting to open. So, a city manager accused of obstruction, a council accused of silence, a state agency caught in the middle, a business blocked from opening, and a mayor censured for telling the truth. The story isn't over. The lawsuits are still active. The documents are still coming. And the stakes for Menominee, financial, political, and ethical, have never been higher. This has been Delta Deep Dive. Follow for more.